It's Thursday, the 11th of December. From the MEN newsroom, this is Channel M's Lunchtime News, and these are today's headlines. Banned from teacher who told primary school children Father Christmas doesn't exist.
I think that it's horrible because it does exist, I think.
Also this lunchtime, last chance to vote. Ballot boxes open to collect the final papers in the congestion charge referendum.
Cutting it a bit fine, bringing it down this morning, but luckily you've got a chance to, manually bring your vote down rather than stick it in the post.
And closing down sale, the clear-out starts at Woolworths.
The sale is effectively commencing today with a view to some of the stores winding down before Christmas.
Good afternoon. First, this lunchtime, it was a lesson that should have been getting a class of young children in Oldham excited about Christmas. Instead, it left them upset and confused. Now, a supply teacher's been banned from Blackshaw Lane Primary for telling them that Santa Claus didn't exist. Nina Warhurst takes up the story.
Well, you know it and I know it. Of course Father Christmas exists. Where else would we get our presents from on the big day? But every year there's always at least one grown-up who likes to pretend that they don't believe. Well, this year the culprit was a supply teacher here at Blackshaw Lane Primary School in Royton who fibbed to a class of 6 and 7-year-olds and pretended that Father Christmas doesn't exist.
I think that it's horrible because it does exist, I think.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah, really angry about it, yeah, really upset.
I won't tell other children that, no, because that's up to their parents to teach them that. And really, it's everyone each to their own beliefs.
While you can keep the magic of Christmas going, it just makes Christmas that little bit, that extra special, doesn't it?
Well, of course, the rest of the staff here know the truth, and they sent a letter home to parents apologising for the supply teacher's mistake. And now the magic of the festive season is well and truly restored in Royton. Do you believe in Father Christmas?
Yeah.
What have we asked for this year?
I want a scooter.
A scooter?
Yeah.
As soon as the scenario blew up, that school were in there and dealt with it very, very well, yeah.
And just in case any of you are left with any doubts, Father Christmas is alive and well and flew into Swinton to prove it. Nina Warhurst, Channel M News.
There's less than 10 hours to go now till the referendum on plans for a congestion charge here in Greater Manchester closes. A series of ballot boxes have been put in place to collect the final few papers. Kevin Duffy's been to where one of them is in Eccles.
Yes, thanks, James. Now, time really is running out for anybody who wants to have their say in the Congestion Charge Transport Innovation Fund referendum. People have until 10 o'clock tonight to put this in the postbox or bring it down to one of the collection points. We're down at Eccles, and this one belongs to a gentleman called Jonathan Hughes, who's with me now. Jonathan, have that. That's yours. Now, you've cut it a bit close, my friend, because the deadline is 10 o'clock tonight. Why did you leave it so late?
Yeah, well, better late than never, as they say. Obviously, there's a lot of important issues and different arguments. So it takes a bit of time to weigh that up. But yeah, granted, cutting it a bit fine, bringing it down this morning. But luckily, you've got a chance to, manually bring your vote down rather than stick it in the post. So I thought, use that opportunity to put my marker down and be counted, as it were.
You regard it as an important issue?
Yeah, I live in Eccles and often, driving in and out of Manchester for work and social reasons. So, obviously it's an important issue nationally, and also, obviously something that affects Manchester as well.
Well, here we are. You're at the collection point, and time really is running out. I suggest you get that ballot paper in. Thanks, Jonathan.
No problem.
Cheers. Well, there you have it. Another vote going in the collection box. We're down in Eccles, and time really is running out. Don't forget, you've got until 10 o'clock tonight to make that momentous decision about the future of transport investment in Greater Manchester. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Kevin. Well, if you've still got to vote, there are boxes available right across Greater Manchester for you to hand deliver your ballot. These are where they are in each borough, and it doesn't matter where you live or work. You can use any of the boxes to drop off your envelope, just whichever is the most convenient for you. The deadline is 10 o'clock tonight, and you can also still post your ballot as well. Any put in the post boxes by the last collection tonight will be separated out at the sorting office. The latest figures we've had show that the turnout is approaching 50%. The result itself will be announced tomorrow morning, and we'll have all the build-up before a specially extended lunchtime news from 11:30 tomorrow morning, when we'll bring you that result live. Dozens of people have turned out for the funeral of two young boys who were found dead at their home in Cheetham Hill last month. 2-year-old Romario Mullings Sewell and Delano, who was only 3 months old, had both been stabbed once in the chest. Their small white coffins were carried into St John's Church in Cheetham Hill by their uncles. Their mother, Jael Mullings, who's been charged with murder, wasn't there. She's been sectioned and is staying at a mental health unit until her next court appearance next week. A police car on an emergency call has skidded on ice in Levenshulme overnight and ploughed into a tree. The accident happened on Birchfields Road. No other vehicles or members of the public were involved. 2 officers who were in the vehicle have been taken to hospital with minor injuries. The number of stabbings is down in 10 knife crime hotspots, including Greater Manchester, after a crackdown that started in June. £2 million has been spent trying to hammer home the danger of carrying blades to teenagers. Police say the number of youngsters they've searched who've been found with them is down from 1 in 30 to 1 in 65. That as students at a school in Tyldesley team up with police to try to raise awareness there of the consequences of carrying knives. The pupils at Longworth High have written and performed a play that sums up the dangers.
Stop! You see this sort of stuff on the telly, didn't you? But you never think that you're going to be involved. It was only one knife, and it's ruined someone's life.
The students today are performing a drama piece which is directed towards the Tackling Knives action programme.
Whiskey, getting blooded!
It's not alarmist, it's about education, it's about social responsibility. And giving young people the opportunity to become exposed to those in a learning and productive environment.
It was a group thing, but obviously we had our teachers' help, but we just put all our ideas together, and that's what we got.
And before you got involved in the play, did you ever think about knife crime at all?
Well, you know, I heard about it on the news and stuff like that, but apart from that, no, not really. But it's really got to me now and I've really started thinking about it.
I think the kids, because we're kids and they're kids, I think they will listen to us more than adults sometimes.
As long as we do have incidents of knife crime, then the police have work to do, and part of our programme in tackling that is through the school's education programme, and of which we can see some very good evidence today.
If you've got a knife, don't give me a call. I want to stop knife crime once and for all.
2 men have been arrested after a man was stabbed at a snooker club in Bolton overnight. Police found the 26-year-old injured at the building on Higher Swan Lane. His condition's not thought to be life-threatening. A report's demanding the NHS records mistakes better and also does more to learn from them. The Healthcare Commission says not enough's being done to make sure patient care is as safe as it could be. It estimates there are 600 errors a day, and particularly at GP level says they're not being checked well enough. A man who's had an agonising wait of 15 months for a lung transplant says he's still hoping his luck could change after being called in for the operation 11 times and then being sent home. Brian Maloney from West Horton wants people who've heard his story to become organ donors. He's been speaking to Georgia Calvin-Smith.
Brian Maloney suffers from pulmonary fibrosis. His only hope for recovery is a lung transplant. But despite having been on the waiting list for the operation for almost a year and a half, he's still waiting.
You get to thinking, is this going to actually happen? Which is very, very frightening to think that I might not get one. And I'm going downhill quite quickly.
It's been tough. Brian's had his hope raised almost a dozen times, but on every occasion has had to be sent home from Wythenshawe Hospital without undergoing the procedure, as the donor lungs have been unusable or given to another patient.
The last time we went in, the coordinator, Jane, she was sat downstairs. She's had been sat down 15 minutes to pluck up the courage to come up and tell you it's a no-go again. I think we sat there 14 hours this time, and it gets, when they come and tell you to go home, it's devastating. You build your hopes up, oh, it's going to go ahead, and it gets really upsetting. It really does.
Brian uses oxygen to help him breathe and over the last 5 weeks has seen his health take a turn for the worse. He's seen the difference a transplant can make to other people's lives and has carried a donor card himself since the 70s. He doesn't blame staff at the hospital for his run of bad luck, but thinks if more people signed up as organ donors, he and others like him would have more of a shot at recovery.
This just needs more people to go on the donor list to help people, not just for lungs, but for heart, liver, kidneys and everything else.
To watch someone just literally struggling for breath every morning, it's traumatic. I've always carried a donor card, but that's what I did. I just did it. I didn't think that it was ever going to be in part of my life, but obviously it is now. So it's just asking people just to donate, just think about it.
I know it's devastating for people to be asked, if they lose a loved one, to be asked, can we donate, will they donate their organs? It's a brave thing for them to say yes. It's a very brave thing for them to say yes. But please, please say yes. Please.
Right, let's take a look at the lunchtime sports headlines now. Here's Sam Goodman.
Thank you, James. Well, the Manchester United striker Wayne Rooney has been accused of stamping on Aalborg player Kasper Risgaard during last night's match. The incident went unpunished and the Danish club haven't yet made a complaint to UEFA. The Reds came through some tricky moments during last night's Champions League game before settling for a 2-2 draw, a result which ensured them top spot in Group E. After the game, Channel M's Andy Dickman caught up with Johnny Evans.
More Champions League minutes under your belt now. How much have you enjoyed the experience this season?
Yeah, I think I've got 4 Champions League games now, so played more in the Champions League and in the Premiership. But you know, it's nice. You're playing in the Champions League. You know, it's a special feeling.
It's a great learning curve for you as well.
Yeah, as I say, it's different than playing Premier League, and but you know, playing in Europe. You know, I think a lot of players who aren't playing in Europe, you know, try and get moves, so they are playing in Europe, so it's nice that I'm definitely getting a lot of games.
Disappointing, of course, to not win tonight, but you've topped the group, and that's the important thing, really.
Yeah, winning the group, you know, you get the advantage of playing, you know, the team that finishes second, so, you know, it's definitely a big bonus.
And you'll play second leg at home as well. That can be an added bonus as well.
Yeah, definitely as well. You know, playing second leg at home definitely does help.
And keeping with football, Bolton's veteran goalkeeper Ian Walker has left the club after a joint agreement to end his contract. The former England international failed to make an appearance for the Whites in the Premier League after signing from Leicester in 2005. Bad news for Sale Sharks as fullback Rory Lamont will be out for up to 4 months following ankle surgery. The Scotland international injured himself during last week's victory over Montauban. He'll also miss the entire Six Nations Championship. Well, tonight's Talking Shark features an exclusive interview with Sales Director of Rugby Philippe Saint-Andre, and there's also a look at how Matthew Tate spends his spare time.
Might bring the missus down for a go.
Yep.
Get some.
She'd probably shoot better than you two boys anyway.
She says you've been firing blank.
Right, come on. OK, now you call Paul nice and loud.
Yeah. Paul.
On it. OK, well shot. That was centred. That was almost a ball of dust. Well shot. 5.
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
Got my work cut out now.
Let me read this one out to you. This is something I picked off the internet.
Oh.
I relax by listening to running water or constant noises. It can be a shower, a tumble dryer, fans. It's bizarre, but I've always liked it.
Yeah, I don't.
Do you just
well,
sit
my
in the
mum's got
kitchen
the same.
listening to a tumble dryer?
I won't classify it as a problem, but she says it's something to do with comforting. Supposed to sound like when you're in the womb or something. Well,
Right.
she's been reading up on it, but yeah, for whatever reason, well, if I sit next to just really running water, find it very relaxing. She said one of the most relaxing things is a bouncy castle. If you sit on one of those with the sound of the fan.
Have you got one in your back garden?
I haven't, no. I'm working on it.
As an idea for a Christmas present?
No, if I was to ever win the lottery, I think I would sort of transform a room into just a bouncy castle.
In ice hockey, the Manchester Phoenix lost 4-1 against the Sheffield Steelers last night and will be hoping to bounce back against Edinburgh at Altrincham this evening. Marshall Gadd of Manchester Rugby Union Football Club has been suspended from participating in rugby union for 2 years after an anti-doping rule violation. He tested positive for the banned substance stanozolol following a random drug test after the match between Coventry and Manchester on October the 25th. He'll be suspended until November the 18th, 2010 and has 14 days to make an appeal. Finally, England were in test action against India and having won the toss and elected to bat, they reached 229 for 5, thanks largely to a third test century for Andrew Strauss. Well, that's all from me for now. Join me again later on this evening.
Thanks very much, Sam. Still ahead on the lunchtime news then. The wonder of Woolworths, shoppers pack stores as closing down sales begin, and the amazing discovery made at a Stockport art shop while redecorating.
My idea was that we had a Miss Havisham sort of scenario going on. Just reading the symbolism in the paintings, I thought it was a family portrait and a lady who's had her heart broken.
Welcome back to Channel M's Lunchtime News. Every day between 12 and 1 o'clock we bring you Greater Manchester's top stories, and you can always log on as well to channelm.co.uk for our main headlines there too. Right now, whether to go real or fake when it comes to Christmas trees, and the men who've been donning high heels for a campaign against domestic violence. That's at channelm.co.uk. Now, it really is the end of an era for Woolworths. Closing down sales have started at all 815 stores with savings of up to 50% advertised. The administrators Deloitte are worried they won't be able to find a buyer and can't guarantee that all the branches will still be open by the end of the month. Shoppers have been packing the stores since early this morning, eager to find a bargain. On this morning's Channel M breakfast show, business expert Kieran Maguire explained to Byron and Nikki how the chain ended up with such big problems.
It's a very grim story, and there's going to be a huge human cost because there's potentially 30,000 jobs going to be lost. There are a series of buyers around, but they are very much the vultures picking over the best high street locations. So I think you can expect to see some of the other high street chains such as Sainsbury's and Woolworths, Sainsbury's and Tesco's coming in to buy some of the stores, but certainly not all of them. They'll be trying to pick up the largest ones. But the sale is effectively commencing today with a view to some of the stores winding down before Christmas, and the rest, I suspect, unless they are sold, nothing will go beyond March.
It's a shame, isn't it? It really is a shame. You're absolutely right. 815 branches nationwide, and I think not just the fact that there's a loss, such a great loss of jobs and people being unemployed at this time of year, but also the fact that it's been a staple of our high street shopping. It's been part of our communities for such a long time. How has it got itself into such a mess?
Because it's not had a unique selling point. But the only time when Woolworths was ever used was at Christmas. It actually made losses 42 weeks of the year and made profits in the final 10 weeks before Christmas. With the consumers being increasingly choosy and with the consumers having greater choice also in terms of the internet, there simply isn't enough people going through the doors to spend money.
Next, it started off with some routine redecoration, but ended with the most amazing find. The owners of an art shop in Stockport couldn't believe their eyes when they uncovered 4 murals dating back to the 1800s. Beverly Walkden's been to take a look.
We've all had to do our fair share of painting and decorating over the years, I'm sure, but can you imagine if you were scraping off that old wallpaper and all of a sudden this began to reveal itself? These secret murals discovered above this Stockport art shop were painted around 1810.
I'm just a romantic, so my idea was that we had a Miss Havisham sort of scenario going on. Just reading the symbolism in the paintings, I thought it was a family portrait and a lady who's had her heart broken, a bride that never was. Out of the blue, something that was nothing to do with the rest of the paintings, or could it explain perhaps where that ship was going to? I'd like somebody with more experience of that area to come in, because I need somebody to help me preserve them.
The murals have reminded Patricia and the rest of the staff here that Stockport buildings have a wealth of visible history still. Well-beaten steps leading nowhere today, cellar gas mantles before the advent of electricity, and hidden servant quarters.
And those stairs are something else, aren't they? They just lead up to some kind of mystery up there.
Well, if you think you can help solve the mystery of the murals, why they were painted and when, do get in touch. Beverly Walkden for Channel M News.
Time now for the 9th entry in our Christmas choir competition. We'll give you details on how to vote for Higher Lane Primary in Whitefield in a moment. First, let's hear some of their song, Rudolph Rumpus.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had red shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. All of the other reindeers used to laugh and call him names.
Higher Lane Primary School is a great school because all the students really have fun and we all connect with the teachers very well.
Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph with your nose so bright. Merry Christmas, everybody, from Higher Lane Primary School. Yeah!
Thank you to everyone from Higher Lane Primary. You can see more of that performance in our evening news from 5 tonight. If you want to vote for them, you need to text Choir I to 88821. Texts cost 50p plus your normal texting charge. 20p from each goes to charity. The text line closes at 6 o'clock in the morning. Messages sent after then won't count and may still be charged. You'll be able to vote for them again in our hour-long Christmas Choir Contest special this weekend, the 13th and 14th of December. The choir with the most votes wins the coveted Christmas Choir Competition trophy and gets to visit our studio at Urbis to perform live. Good luck to everyone who's taking part. Well, it's been a very chilly morning and the weekend's looking like being fairly wet. With the details, here's Michelle Eagleton.
Another cold start for you. It was this morning, but this afternoon it's gone a little bit milder, although I have to say we are going to see the worst parts of the weather, expecting a fair bit of rain mixed in with some drier spells. Highs of between 3 and 5 degrees for most of us. Do wrap up nice and warm later on tonight if you are heading out and about, and don't forget to take an umbrella with you because those showers really aren't going to let up, I'm afraid. This morning we did see a lot of heavy cloud, and we're staying with that cloud this afternoon, and especially in places like Preston and Accrington it is going to be very dark and dismal. That rain will stay with us until tonight, and then tomorrow pretty much the same kind of picture. We are expecting a bit of sunshine, a little bit of dry patches and also some rainy showers, and the worst bit of the rain really is probably going to hit us at the weekend. Saturday and Sunday is shaping up to be very, very wet indeed, but don't worry too much because by Monday that rain will have cleared. We're expecting a dry day, a little bit of cloud around and highs of 4.
This is Channel M's Lunchtime News. Our top story today, and Oldham primary schools had to say sorry to parents after a supply teacher told a class of 6- and 7-year-olds Santa didn't exist. The head of Blackshaw Lane Primary in Royton, Angela McCormack's written a letter home apologising for the mistake. More on that at 5. Don't forget to join us for a specially extended Lunchtime News from 11:30 tomorrow with that referendum result live. But for today, have a good afternoon. Bye-bye for now.